One of the best arm wrestlers in the world is Devon Larratt. He practices arm wrestling in a very distinctive way. Devon's unique approach to training is clearly producing outstanding results, as seen not just by his current level of expertise, but also by the noticeable and rapid progress he has made in recent years. How did Devon Larratt become the strongest arm wrestler in the world? And what is his secret weapon? What strategies does he employ in arm wrestling to succeed? In this exciting video, Devon Larratt's unique training regimen is explored in depth. We see firsthand how his unconventional training techniques have helped him achieve unmatched levels of arm wrestling dominance. Devon's training principle is to train like a champion, rise like a king. Igniting a fire within that propels him to rise above the competition. He receives frequent criticism for not using any conventional exercises, like the bench press, or for not lifting weights strong enough. However, Devon has proven himself a cut above the rest when it comes to skill at the table. He is the undisputed world champion in the 115-kilogram weight class, leaving no one capable of challenging his dominance. What are the secrets behind Devon's unstoppable inside arm wrestling technique? Devon focused exclusively on inside arm wrestling when he initially started arm wrestling. He greatly valued his cupping back pressure and side pressure as his strongest point. The act of cupping involves flexing both the wrist and the fingers. Side pressure is equivalent to internal shoulder rotation, whereas back pressure is equivalent to elbow flexion. Devon worked with his cop back in the day. This workout is designed to keep his wrist from breaking. No one will be able to top roll him if his wrist cannot move back. However, preventing a top roll alone is simply one aspect of the solution. As soon as Devon used cupping to stop his opponent's hand, he needed to apply intense side and back pressure in order to stop his opponent's arm as well. It brings up hook training as well. This lift is a hook training exercise made to simultaneously target your side and back pressure. It virtually mimics a defensive hook position, and Devon's lift held the world record for a long time. As a result, Devon's inside power was of world-class caliber, thanks to the combination of his cub training and hook training. This was reflected on the table, as even people like Richard Lubkes could not do anything to Devon in a hook. However, beneath its stunning surface lies a cautionary tale, as Devon discovered the hard way that every rose has its thorns. The very training that elevated his side and back pressure to new heights ended up being a double-edged sword. It inflicted significant damage to his elbows and forced him to undergo multiple surgeries. As a result, Devon was forced to change his training strategy, adopting a rising and rolling technique, a decision born out of lessons learned and resilience gained. Devon's arm wrestling journey took a surprising turn as he shifted gears, substituting side pressure in favor of the thrilling road of rising, cupping, and rolling. Devon immediately stopped practicing side pressure and started focusing far more on outside arm wrestling. Devon now began to concentrate intently on rise, cup, and roll. The ability to control the high ground during a match is known as rising. Elbow flexion and radial deviation will be used to characterize rising. Rolling is the action of whirling the wrist while simultaneously breaking the opponent's wrist. Pronation will be used to describe rolling, and again, wrist and finger flexion will be used to characterize cupping. Devon began to concentrate much more on hand control at this time. Your opponent has almost no options if you can manage the high ground and bend your wrist while maintaining pronation. Devon still had access to his inside information at this point if he needed it, but it was not even close to what it was before the operation. Devon incorporated a range of innovative tools into his training regimen, including multi-spinners and spinning karate belt handles, to target his cupping technique with precision. He sought out exercises that mimicked the wrist and finger bending he encountered during intense arm wrestling matches, ensuring his workouts accurately reflected the demands of the table. Devon mostly used a karate belt for his rising and rolling movement. Devon is practicing his pronation by creating spinning pressure with the belt while looping it around the side of his hand. At this time, it is observed that Devon uses an arm wrestling table as a pulley system for much of his training. Training specialization is crucial at all times. Devon's training journey in the sport of arm wrestling took a route of specialization with a traditional foundation built on the pillars of rising, cupping, and rolling. Devon is concentrating his efforts on these exercises, which makes perfect sense. But his training journey did not finish here. Devon recently took an unusual action. He pretty much stopped working on his cup because it was not something he thought was fundamental. What are the delicate details of the balance between side pressure and back pressure? There is a tendency to bring the shoulder forward during the rising and rolling movements on the arm wrestling table, which is one of the main problems that develops. The more the shoulder moves forward, the greater the emphasis on side pressure instead of back pressure in the lift. Devon is no longer a fan of training side pressure. Devon will lift himself up from the seated position with his elbow vertically aligned with his shoulder. This indicates that he is solely applying back pressure while avoiding side pressure. Devon occasionally has his elbow outside of his shoulder. This indicates that he is applying side pressure and even some elbow flexion. External shoulder rotation will be used to describe reverse side pressure. Devon set out on a path that deviated from accepted wisdom in the area of training methods, raising eyebrows and igniting intense debate. Devon has stopped using 3 sets of 10 5x5 or another more conventional method. Devon has been working out exclusively on 1 rep. Additionally, he performs single reps continuously throughout the day. According to Devon, this may occur as frequently as once every 20 minutes, and Devon will be using a weight that is roughly 90% of his 1 rep maximum. Devon basically spends the entire day doing strong singles on rise and pronation. Now, it is crucial to remember that Devon practices isometrically. Although he continues to perform a tremendous amount of volume, the amount of muscle he develops will be small because he only performs isometric exercises. It is also important to point out that Devon has been performing a lot of thumb curl. We might never be able to tell how much of this is trolling. However, the thumb is unquestionably a crucial component of arm wrestling. However, Devon's suggestion to only perform the pronation exercises also trains the thumb. How can we strike the right balance between developing techniques like side pressure and cuffing while also recognizing the significance of rising and rolling? Another thing to keep in mind is that Devon spent years developing his side pressure and cuffing. Therefore, it is not always true that no one else should train them simply because he no longer actively does so. In these areas, he already possesses a solid foundation of strength. Devon also spends a lot of time practicing arm wrestling, where he will hone his cup and side pressure. Having said that, rising and rolling are essential. The underlying principle remains unchanged. Whether one chooses to perform heavy singles with weights or opt for higher repetitions utilizing rubber bands, the objective is to gradually strengthen elbow flexion and radial deviation in pronation over time, enhancing performance at the arm wrestling table. Devon elevates training from a mere routine to regal heights as he embodies the dedication, skill, and determination that define champions. What do you think of Devon Larratt's dominant workout regimen? And what aspects of the routine intrigue you the most? Comment below.